My heart hammered against my ribs, a frantic drum in the dead of night. I was walking home, just like any other evening, when a shadow detached itself from the alley wall. It moved faster than anything I'd ever seen. Before I could even process what was happening, a sharp, searing pain shot through my neck. I stumbled back, my hand flying to the spot, and felt two small, distinct puncture wounds. My mind reeled. This couldn't be real. Vampires. They're just stories, right? But the world started to spin, the edges of my vision blurring into a dark tunnel. A chilling cold spread through my veins, and with my last ounce of strength, I opened my mouth and screamed for help, a desperate cry swallowed by the silent, watching city. That was the beginning, my beginning. The first few days are a blur of confusion and a thirst unlike anything I've ever known. It wasn't for water, or juice, or anything human. It was a deep, primal craving that clawed at my insides, a constant, gnawing hunger that overshadowed everything else. My reflection became a stranger. My skin grew pale, almost translucent, and my eyes changed. They held a new depth, a darkness that seemed to swallow the light. I tried to eat normal food, a piece of toast, an apple. It was like chewing on ash. My body rejected it violently. The hunger just grew stronger, more insistent. I locked myself in my apartment, terrified of what I was becoming, terrified of the monster looking back at me from the mirror. The city outside my window, once a place of comfort and familiarity, became a hunting ground. The sounds of life, the laughter from the street below, the distant sirens, they all became a symphony of temptation. Every heartbeat I heard from my neighbors was a tantalizing rhythm, a promise of relief. I could hear conversations through thick concrete walls, smell the faintest trace of perfume from a block away. My senses were on fire, overwhelmed, and it was agonizing. The sun, my old friend, became my enemy. The first time a sliver of morning light touched my skin, it felt like being branded with a hot iron. I recoiled with a hiss I didn't recognize as my own, retreating into the shadows of my apartment. I was a prisoner of the night, a creature of darkness. Desperation drove me to the internet. I typed in my symptoms, my shaking fingers barely able to hit the keys. Sudden aversion to sunlight, unquenchable thirst, heightened senses. The search results were a mix of medical nonsense and folklore, legends, myths, vampire. The words stared back at me from the screen, a digital accusation. I fell down a rabbit hole of ancient texts, modern forums, and whispered online confessions. There were others. I wasn't alone. They called it the change. They spoke of sires and bloodlines, of rules and territories. It was an entire hidden world, existing just beneath the surface of the one I knew. A world I had been violently thrust into. My first feed was an accident. The hunger had become a physical pain, a fire consuming me from the inside out. I stumbled out into the night, my mind a haze of need. I don't remember choosing him. I just remember the scent of blood, a coppery tang in the air from a small cut on his hand. He was just a guy locking up his shop for the night. One moment I was across the street, the next I was in front of him. There was no thought, only instinct. My movements were a blur, silent and impossibly fast. He didn't even have time to cry out. When it was over, I was left kneeling on the cold pavement, the coppery taste of life on my tongue. The hunger was gone, replaced by a horrifying clarity. The man was gone, vanished into the night, and I was left with the monstrous reality of what I had done. The guilt was a heavier burden than the hunger had ever been. That night, I learned control. Or rather, I began the long, arduous process of learning it. I couldn't live like that, a slave to a monstrous impulse. I started small. I went to butcher shops late at night, persuading the owners to sell me animal blood. It was disgusting, a pale imitation of the real thing, but it kept the beast at bay. It quieted the roar of the hunger to a manageable whisper. I learned to walk among people again, to shield my thoughts, to ignore the symphony of heartbeats that surrounded me. I wore sunglasses, even at night, to hide the unnatural glow in my eyes. I created a new identity, a nocturnal existence. I became a creature of libraries, of late-night diners where no one asked questions, of empty parks under the moonlight. I discovered that not all the stories were true. Garlic was just a smelly plant, crosses were just pieces of wood. But the core truths remained: the thirst, the sun, the immortality. Oh, the immortality! The concept was staggering. To watch the world change, seasons turn into decades, decades into centuries, while I remained the same. It wasn't a gift, it felt like a curse, to see everyone I had ever known grow old and pass away, to be an eternal, solitary observer. I found others of my kind eventually, not through a forum, but through a chance encounter in the deep of the night. A woman with eyes that held the same ancient sorrow as my own. Her name was Alara. Alara had been like me for over 200 years. She became my mentor, my guide in this endless night. She taught me about the politics of our kind, the delicate balance we maintain to remain hidden from the human world. She taught me that what I am doesn't have to define who I am. She showed me that strength isn't just about physical power, but about the will to hold onto your humanity, even when it's just a fading echo. We are not mindless monsters. We are beings with choices. We can choose to be predators, or we can choose to be protectors. We can choose to succumb to the darkness, or we can choose to find the light within it. Under her guidance, I learned to harness my new abilities for something other than hunting. My speed and strength could be used to stop a mugging in a dark alley without anyone ever seeing me. My heightened hearing could catch a cry for help that no human ear could. I became a ghost, a whisper in the night, a guardian angel with fangs. It wasn't redemption, not really. I could never erase the memory of my first feed, but it was a purpose. It was a way to fight the monster within me, to prove that a piece of the man I once was still remained. I became a silent protector of the city that had once swallowed my desperate screams. Now, I watch the city from the rooftops. I see the flow of life, the endless stories playing out below. I am a part of it, yet forever separate. The loneliness is a constant companion, a cold ache in my chest that never truly goes away. But so is hope, hope that I can make a difference. Hope that I can honor the life that was taken from me by protecting the lives of others. My name is no longer the one I was born with. I am a shadow, a myth, a secret keeper. The night is my world now, and this is my story. It's a story written in twilight, a tale of loss, of hunger, and of the endless struggle to find a soul in the heart of a monster. And this story is far from over. If you're fascinated by the shadows and what lurks within them, stick around. Follow my journey, and let's explore this hidden world together. Thanks for listening.